Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We are traveling teachers. My name is Graham,
I'm Ashley.
and this is Amelie, and we live in Kunming, China.
In this video, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about if China is a good place to raise a family, is it family friendly, and some of the things that we've gone through as parents and as a family being here in China. The first thing we'd like to talk to you about today is safety.
Safety is very important. I think when Amelie was really young, when she was a newborn, we were, well, especially Ashley, was a lot more concerned about the products that you could buy here in China and the safety standards for that.
I had postpartum anxiety for a little bit when I lived in China. I felt like things were out of my control for a little while, just because the standards here are a little bit different than where I'm from, the United States. There's some products that I bought that I later found out weren't safe, like a drop side crib. I think those are not sold in the US or Canada. Then I found a little bit more research online, and I follow American safety standards for sleeping in the crib. Like, we don't put any blankets. People thought we were, like, our IEs thought we were strange for a while, but we stress the importance of not putting blankets in the crib, or she's not allowed in our bed. I mean, no judgment if you do that yourself. It's just what helped keep me feel happy and confident with being a mom, just making sure that she's safe.
Also, we went to a CPR training as well, and the doctor that was giving the training also mentioned that unfortunately in China he's seen a few infant deaths due to putting the kid in a crib with blankets, and so I think for our IE that's kind of opened her eyes a little bit more, especially coming from a Chinese doctor as well.
The other big bane of my existence has been car seats. As some of you may know, we used Duna for the longest time, which was a godsend.
Duna's
it was
great.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And I wish they had, you can only use it until about 15 months, more or less. Amelie's small, so we got to use it for a couple more months, but she did grow out of it. So now she's in one of those extend to fit car seats, and it is a huge clunker. It's about 20 pounds. We've hired a driver who is now trained, like we taught him how to install it, but that's been kind of a pain for us. I don't think car seats are as common here in China. They're starting to become a law. That's been our biggest frustration. I know a lot of expat families, they get their own cars, so they have car seats. We still use DDs quite a bit, and we've also utilized the subway quite a bit, just because convenience. We don't want to hire the driver just to take us on a quick trip. That's been kind of a struggle for us, but at least we know car seats are available here. A lot of people back home, they use something like the Sonera Next, which is a lighter car seat. I think you can use it for up to a 3-year-old's child, but I couldn't find that here in China. But I did find the Graco car seats. You can get those here.
Next, we'd like to talk about gear.
At this stage in her life, we actually have 3 strollers. This one is called the Tulip Urban Glide. We generally use this one in town around our neighborhood because it is really big. It can go into a car, but it's a pain to take down, especially since we're taking a bunch of taxis and whatnot. But yeah, it can fall down, but I really like this one because it's great for running, because it is a running stroller, but it also can go off sidewalks and on all the bumps and whatnot that Chinese streets tend to have. This is our Duno. You've seen this before. It's full of stuff now. This one is for car rides. She's almost too big for this one, but we're gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer. And then this is the one I'm gonna be taking today. It's our yo-yo. This one is very lightweight. I can use it one-handed, no problem. Fits into the car very easily. We always attach this monkey to her stroller, or we also have a robot. We'll interchange those so she doesn't get bored. Grabbing some snacks. We like the brand Little Freddy. I think I've brought that up before. Her water bottle and sippy cup. Down here, we have the Ergo Baby Omni 360. It's our favorite carrier. Emily loves it, fortunately, so we use that quite a bit. Most things that you would want from home are available here, but obviously we've never been home, so I can't say for certain the products are exactly the same, but Taobao and JD have been a wonderful resource. If you don't speak Chinese, then I suggest looking into Baopals. There's an English service for Taobao. And if you use Tmall, then you're more likely to get real products. So do be wary. There are dupes here in China that look quite real. So you have to be wary of that. All of Amelie's clothes, they're mostly Carter's. Now that she's getting older, I'm branching out a little bit more, but it's quite easy to find her clothes on Taobao or JD. Most of the things that you could want are readily available here, and if they're not available, there are people that do imported products. The one thing that I couldn't do was the car seat that I wanted, but the Graco one has been, you know, it's good.
We have a crib for her as well, which we bought.
American? Yeah.
Did we buy it on Taobao as well?
We did. It's a Delta crib. I had bought a different one before. Like, I accidentally bought a drop side crib before I realized that those are not considered safe in the US. And that's when I went into my panic. But then I did my research and we decided on a Delta crib. The one thing that you have to be wary of is doing your research before you purchase anything. I mean, I feel like that goes for anywhere that you live, but especially here in China.
Well, as well as the online stores like Taobao and JD and Baopals and whatnot. There's also stores in the mall, like specific stores for babies, where they have baby formula and food and snacks and diapers and whatnot. So if you are coming to China, between the online shopping and the stores in the mall, you will have no problem.
Some of the formula that we used for Amelie was called Enfamil, and you can get diapers. We usually buy Pampers, but you can also get things like Huggies, and Welch diapers are actually
Japanese kind.
There's lots of diaper brands, but ones that you would be familiar with from your home as well, I'm sure. Some of the other places where we buy her clothes are H&M, Uniqlo. I'm not sure if Uniqlo is in the US, but I love Uniqlo for its like simple basics. H&M and Uniqlo is usually where we go.
That's all you need.
There's also Baby Gap. I'm thinking of Baby Gap, but it's just the Gap store where they sell clothes. They don't have a specific kids store. Next, we'd like to talk to you about the medical system. Here in Kunming, we are a tier 2 city, I think. If you're unfamiliar with the tier systems in China, you can just do a Wikipedia search on it. Basically, it's dependent on the hospitals and the area, and there's lots of criteria for the tier system. So the hospitals in Kunming, there's a good number of foreign hospitals, or international hospitals I should say. Unfortunately, our pediatrician has left China. He went back home because his children have all graduated. There is one family doctor that we take Amelie to sometimes if she has a cold. We also take her to a women and children's hospital, which is also a private hospital. That's where we get her vaccinations. She does quick checkups there just to make sure that she's healthy enough for the vaccines. And we can also get her height and weight measurements there. In terms of vaccines, we can only get them once every 2 weeks, and you can only get one at a time, which has proven to be difficult. We're a little bit behind on our vaccination records just because, you know, we both work, so it's hard for us to find time to go do that. But I actually kind of like it this way. It's hard for me to tell for sure, but Amelie hasn't had any negative reactions with the vaccines so far.
Yeah,
which, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
But so far, like, I'm quite happy with spreading them out. And you're also not allowed to get a vaccine if they have a cold or if they're sick in any way, just to make sure if they do have any adverse reactions, then you know exactly why. Which I quite appreciate. Were she to have a reaction, we would know, it's because of this vaccine, probably. In terms of the medical care, I've been fairly happy in Beijing. In Kunming, we've made do with what we have. I think overall, like, there's nothing wrong with Chinese doctors. We just prefer somebody that we can communicate clearly with, but I see no issue with going to a Chinese doctor, which we do at the place where we get her vaccines. She sees a pediatrician each time, and for me, that's been more than enough.
Our next topic is about the people of China.
There are times when we do get unwanted attention and people want to pick up Amelie without asking me, or they take pictures without asking me. Now that Amelie is getting older, I think we'll try and give her autonomy. So if people want to take her picture, we're gonna have them ask her first. Right now she's too little, but I get quite mama bear when people take pictures of her without asking me first. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. I know they're just doing it because they think she's cute, but that is a big frustration of mine. You gotta ask before you take somebody's picture first. I would say most of the time people are just really nice and curious about what we're doing, and they've been rather helpful. I remember the other day I had a DD ride into another area of town, and I was by myself, and the DD helped me get Amelie out of the car and helped me get situated, and even gave her a little toy to play with while we were in the DD. That was a nice experience that I remember quite well. He's gonna find one.
I love him! He's my favorite little person ever! Well, Heine!
Okay.
Oh my god, he's so cute! It's you, Mama. You don't love him.
He said you're not mom.
No, I'm not your mom, but I love you.
People have helped me carry groceries home before when I've been by myself. A lot of these times are when I'm by myself with Amelie. I think a lot of people here have kids themselves or are grandparents, so they're quick to lend a helping hand if they see that you need it. Now we'd like to talk to you about restaurants. You want some more bread? Bread. Bread. Bread? She's like, heck yeah, man, give me the bread.
In terms of family-friendly restaurants, there's a number of restaurants that have high chairs, and they're usually quite accommodating. There's one restaurant in the mall next to us that it's a Japanese restaurant. They have like a children's meal, like a set meal for Amelie and for kids in general. And so there are a few places that have these types of meals.
Yeah, you won't find kids' meals quite as common in China, so I think I can only think of 2 restaurants that offer kids' meals, and maybe McDonald's, I don't know. But the good news is Chinese food is quite healthy. It can be a little bit spicy at times, but generally if you tell them, you just ask for eggs and rice, or we usually get chow fan, fried rice, and that's been pretty good. That's one of Amelie's favorite foods. She likes Chinese food quite a bit, and I think if you tell the server, oh, you want it for the baby, they're happy to accommodate with whatever you need. So that's been nice. One aspect that's been frustrating is not every restaurant has high chairs, so sometimes we have to sit with her in our lap or in a booth. She's getting a little bit older now, so she can sit on her own. Yesterday I had her sit on a chair, and then I put her bowl in between her legs, which worked in that situation because there were no high chairs. But overall, I would say the food here is healthy and good. Maybe a little bit oily or salty or spicy at times, but chefs are happy to accommodate if you let them know that you have a child with you. The next category that we would like to talk about is child's play places.
There are a number of play places around town in the mall next to us, and like
It's interesting in Chinese malls how each floor is kind of designated to the same thing. So you'll get like the bigger stores on the first floor, and we are on the 4th floor, so they have all of the kids stores, all of the toy stores, like everything kid related is all on this floor. And this little guy is very interested in me and Amelie.
all the malls in our community, in our area, have at least one play place. And usually there's a membership as well that you have to pay for. I don't know if it's a 6-month or a yearly membership.
It's not for amount of time, or it's not by months, it's by how many times you go. They all have different special deals that you can buy at different times. I think the one that we purchased at one of the play places was about 1,000 kwai, which is $150 US, and we can go for 20 times. And we've already taken her quite a bit. It's nice on the weekends. It's something to do. She loves going to the mall, and then afterwards we go out to eat. A place that we just bought another membership for is they serve a meal. She gets to go play. So they have very kid-friendly food, and they have attendants to help with the kids playing, and that was really nice. So it's 100 kwai each time you go with your membership, and I think you can go for 10 times. 100 kwai is about $14. So for a meal and playing for a couple hours, it's not too bad at all. They have these all over China. We've been to a bunch of them. In our community, we're lucky because we have a small playground. Those are not as common in China, but I do find in the newer complexes they are including playgrounds, so that is something to look out for if you're looking for an apartment here. Do they have a playground? Because usually they do not, but in the newer apartment complexes they are starting to. They do have a lot of exercise equipment as well, which Amelie likes playing with that more than the playground. I guess it depends. A lot of the kids play on the exercise equipment.
Finally, our last topic is schools and childcare here in China.
So schools and private institutions are very popular in China. There's also something called an ayi, or an aunt. Right now we have an ayi, and she takes care of Amelie full-time while we're at work. It's fairly inexpensive, and she cooks Amelie's meals, and she takes her out to play, and does laundry, does basic help around the house, and that's been a really amazing part of living in China, having that additional help. I know in Beijing we also hired our ayi. Normally she just cleaned for us, but we hired her full-time to help us when I first gave birth, and that was really amazing. It made it a lot easier on us having that additional help. Another aspect in China is a lot of people get free schools for their children depending on where they work, especially if you're a teacher here, but a lot of companies will also include free schooling as part of their contract deals. Foreign children are generally not allowed to go to public schools in China, but I'm not sure if you would really want that anyway. The schooling system can be quite different from anything that we're used to. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just different. The class sizes tend to be a little bit larger, and I think they're a little bit stricter than we are. So definitely want to send your kid to an international school or something along those lines. We send our daughter to a Montessori school, so she doesn't go full time, she just goes to 2 classes a week. We might start upping that to 3 classes a week. A lot of the preschools at the international schools, they don't start until age 3. So do keep that in mind. Having an ayi is much cheaper than sending her to daycare or anything like that back home. Daycare is not as common here in China. Like, we haven't found anything for younger. I think 1.5 you can start sending them away, but we've decided sending them off to daycare.
Too bad we can't send them away before 1.5.
Send them off to school, which you could, I think probably around 1.5 you can send them off to school, but we opted not to just because we wanted that consistency for Amelie. So we've decided to keep on our ayi, and we'll probably continue doing the same until she's 3 and then can attend to the school that we're working at. I think that's the best choice for us, but we're not sure. But overall, yeah, I'm happy with the childcare here in China, because I know how expensive childcare is back home, like sending them to daycare, especially if you have 2 parents that work. We hope you found our video informative. Hopefully it helped some of you.
And if you like this video, then hit the like button and the bell, kick it, and subscribe, and do all the things. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, and if you're an expat family, you can tell us what you think about raising a child in the country that you're in.
Yeah, leave the comments down below. All right?
All right, I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.